Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk Podcast, presented to you by FanDuel, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Leave and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are coming to you, Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. On tonight's show, we have our reaction to Arkansas's 45-42 loss to Texas A&M. And at 6:45, we will have Payton Dunn from the Pigpen Collective to talk about the new NIL endeavor, Fan Driven. Adam, get right into it. Another 3-point loss, another one-score loss. I know I guess in a sense, it was a little different because of the fact that they scored so late in the game to make it a 3-point game. But what was your overall thoughts of the game yesterday?
I honestly thought that it was a good game in the sense that Arkansas kept themselves in it the entire way. Scoring before halftime was huge to carry some of that momentum because, right then I felt like if you didn't score and then with Texas A&M getting the ball in the second half, if they were to score again, you put yourself in an even bigger hole. So that was great. I honestly am shocked and glad that they postponed the game due to the rain earlier in the day. I expected more wet conditions on the field, ball control issues, and we didn't see that. Now I will say some of the players looked like they were running maybe a step slower than normal. Mike Washington I noticed, and Taylor kind of looked like maybe the field was a little bit damp, whatever the case may be, but all in all, here we are again, another game that the defense couldn't stop anything. Another game again, I believe they said after the game, this is the 5th game that we've outgained the opponents in yards, but it's the 4th loss out of those. So it's one of those things that hurts to see that. I thought the game was done about the 5-6 minute mark when Texas A&M had gone up double digits or whatever it was, 11 points, 10 points. So, it's you got that last score. At the same time, it still stings.
Yeah. For me, you had a lot of momentum going into halftime, the 2 quick scores. And when they scored so quickly to open up the third quarter, I was like, there goes the momentum. But for them to fight back till the end, I have to admit, when I gave, grades, there was a lot of people giving the offensive an A grade. And at first I was, it was hard for me to give them an A grade because when you have a quarterback, second year in a Barbie Petrino, captain of your team, there was 2 instances where that the 4th and 1, Jones wide open, missed him. Wanted to, he scrambled into pressure instead of staying in the pocket. And that's been the biggest critique of him, stay in the pocket and you try to do everything with your legs. And then the second thing was on the last drive, minute 45 left in the game. You just run backwards and I don't know if it was a 20-yard loss or whatever the loss was. Took yourself out of field goal position because you look at the management. I am very, very, very surprised if they realized that the drive wasn't going according to plan on that last one. Go ahead and try to kick a field goal early, then try the onside kick, and maybe you have some time left on the clock to go down and score. But when you score the touchdown with 10, 12 seconds left, even if you do, now you've got 10 seconds to try to kick a field goal and get in field goal range. So there was things, and I guess, I was talking to some people, we've talked about it at the beginning of the year. We're very hard on this team because we want to see success. And I think I was a little too harsh on this offense. When you go back and you look at the stats and you go back and look at everything, I am expecting Taylor Green to be perfect. He wasn't perfect, yet those 2 plays were huge plays. But, kind of taking a step back, you have to applaud the effort that the offense did to stay in this game.
Definitely. It's one of those games that even when there were mess ups, which going from 1 penalty against Tennessee to 9 penalties this game stung a little bit. I didn't expect they have 9. I expect a few more just because of the weather conditions and whatnot. But this was something that that 4th and 1 that you brought up. And then what was it? Towards the end of the game, the 20-yard sack where he ran back, not getting rid of the ball. I mean, I thought we were past some of that. Obviously, it's been rare this season that things like, or at least one that large, has happened. But the offense stayed with it. They can't get any help defensively. The tackling or lack thereof, I've never seen so many players just ride the back of the offensive player out of bounds because they can't bring him down. Or there's a few times of Arkansas players just getting trucked and bowled over by Texas A&M players. I know on the post game they were talking about like if Talon hadn't to give, I think he was sacked 4 times for like 46 yards or something like that. If he hadn't been, if lost 46 yards there, he would have had like 130 something yards rushing. This is just something that I don't know. It's a tough loss. I know a lot of us are past the point of moral victories. I don't attribute anything yesterday. Nothing is a moral victory in this. You lost the game. You're now what, 2-6, 2-5.
Yeah, 2-5.
5. You've got Auburn coming up. So this is something that is the defense ever going to be able to step up in these last however many games to help out the offense a little bit?
The good thing is you got 2 games now. What we had at the beginning of the season, winnable. You've seen Mississippi State. They struggled. You've seen Auburn. You're looking at teams that you're not playing again. We can say, look at the schedule. You're not playing the number 4, number 5, number 12 team in the country now, number 10 team in the country now. You're playing an unranked opponent. So that bodes well, especially with how high-powered your offense is. This is one of those games you just got to ask them to come in and just get a couple of stops. This offense has shown how explosive, but there is also, you look and see Taylon Green, if people really want to scheme on him, he's always going to spin out of the pocket left. And that's where they're bringing the pressure, because they know when he spins, he's going to turn around. And then that one play threw up a prayer. It went 10, 15 yards. But if people are playing up when they know he's scrambling, those could be picks. Those could be errant fumbles. He's still got some polishing to do. But the run game, you talked about it. Yeah, 12 carries, 133 yards for Taylon Green, 48 yards because of the sacks. And then Mike Washington, 323 yards rushing and 259 through the air. That just shows you, again, how bad this defense is.
Mm-hmm. And, we didn't know what to expect when Taylon went out. At first, we were wondering if he fell on the ball, had the wind knocked out or something, but then they were stretching him over on the sideline. Thought we were going to get to see KJ Jackson potentially finish the game. We didn't, which it's one of those at this point. The offense is doing its thing, so, you don't want to mess that up with an injury or having to bring in, the backup quarterback. I was honestly surprised with Texas A&M's defense and I forget his name, but the SEC sack leader. I expected, him to potentially sound off on Taylon Green. And that's one thing that I'll say that we didn't really see. And there was another play, I believe it was in the 3rd quarter. Texas A&M had 30-yard pass, and it was on the sideline, and Arkansas's defender and the Texas A&M receiver were both fighting for it, but they went out of bounds, and they gave the ball to Texas A&M as a complete pass. And I'm sitting there watching the replay, and in that moment, I just don't see, number one, why we didn't challenge it.
Yeah.
And number two, I mean, I don't know if they were expecting the challenge to come from, but whatever the case may be, I didn't think it was a complete pass for Texas A&M, which ended up in a score. And this was something too that was defeating. Was Texas A&M had gotten like a 20-something yard touchdown run, got called back for holding, and then the very next play they run it right in for a touchdown. And I'm just like things like that are just defeating as a fan, and I would hope even more defeating as a defender or as a coach that y'all just let this happen.
Yeah. And that goes to, previous administration, I guess you could say, because I mean, look, it's depth. I think Trey Biddy was talking about at one point, you have a true freshman out there at D line, a true freshman defensive end out there. It's hard because you're trying to play 4 quarters. It's going to be an absolute war. It's probably going to be a 1-score game. And you're having to worry about the guys that you have out there. And then who's your reserves? Who are you going to bring in on a third down? I think it's a very good indicator of what they really need to work on. And we joked about it at the beginning of the season of, they spent their $16.5 million on offense. And you've seen, I can't remember. I think it was it was either the Memphis game or the Ole Miss game. I'm like, if you would have just have a half-ass defense, you're probably looking at one loss right now. But then you look at how everything folds. Sam Pittman would still be the coach, and all give or take, And now you're looking at again all these coaching openings. Billy Napier, James Franklin's gone. How many of these are going to come open, and how many of these people are going to want to come to Arkansas? And I would really like to dig in deeper to the Dan Mullen comment of him saying 0.0% interest. You need to go after Gus. Is that how he truly feels about this job opening? So with that being said, do you try to run with Bobby Petrino next year? Because you got some heavy hitters with openings, and you have some coaches wanting to fill those spots. It is going to be a very tough decision on it. Now, if they can go get James Franklin, if they can go get one of these big guys, I think awesome. But it's hard for me to, with them not knowing how your NIL is going to be, which we'll talk about another option here in just a second. Are you going to have the NIL? Can you trust Hunter Yurchek to be true to his word when he's saying we're going to do this? But it's hard for me to believe somebody whose back is to the wall. Or is he using Bobby Petrino to save his own job? He knows the fans are going to ride with him. Can he get enough boosters to fully fulfill this team? Because I'm telling you right now, it's going to take Pick Collective. It's going to take the raffle. It's going to take and we don't even know what the collective is now. So we in no disrespect, but it's like you got these fans coming in with a Pig Collective. That's it right now. Where's the money going to go? Where, if somebody did want to donate to the Edge right now, who are they going to donate to?
Well, I'll backtrack. So Dan Mullen, he's just going to, he's a sitting head coach. He's not going to give indications that he's not going to be there next year.
Yeah.
So the more it's brought up in pressers and whatnot, I mean, the more he's going to deny it, and he's going to, have a comment or two that goes viral and whatever the case may be. If he had just said 0.0 interest, okay, no big deal, whatever. Adding the Gus Malzahn was where everybody, kind of took it and ran with it. But like I said, he's a sitting head coach. He's not going to go out there and say that he's looking somewhere else. And now, honestly, I wonder, hey, Florida, do y'all want to run it back with Dan Mullen? I mean, we're in this world of running it back with people, so give it a shot. But so for that, I mean, he's giving an answer that a sitting head coach is going to give. The Gus Malzahn part, I've been against for a while. Just every year that it gets brought up, anytime there's head coaching turmoil at Arkansas, I'm to this point that why not? And I say that loosely because I'm not gung ho about it, but I was just, thinking about it a little bit yesterday, and it was kind of like, he left UCF. Maybe he saw the writing on the wall there. He takes a Florida State OC job. And I looked at that as maybe his way to not be in the limelight as a head coach and able to take a bigger head coaching job than UCF. So this gives him some space that he doesn't have to worry about everything that comes with being a head coach during this season to make a move when the time is right. If that's Arkansas, okay, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to. I think it's going to be Arkansas. No. Then circling back to Bobby Petrino, I know that there's a lot of folks they're in the comments that go ahead and give the reins to Bobby Petrino permanently. Let him have it. And I'm just still, yes, he is showing us what he can do with the offense and a Bobby Petrino led team. I mean, we've gotten out of those couple games or whatever it was where we didn't score in the second half or few points in the second half. We've worked ourselves out of that. At the same time, I'm still on the boat of stop circling the wagon with coaches that have been here before. I would like to see a new regime, and that starts with the athletic director and works its way down. I am still on board with finding a new athletic director too, but I know finding a head coach and a new athletic director at the same time is a big task. I appreciate Bobby Petrino coming back to Arkansas, being able to come back to Arkansas. I just don't know that I want to see a Bobby Petrino 2.0 led Arkansas team. And I know everybody's talking, whether it's in groups and comments, people watching the game with, let's get him and we'll just go hire a DC. We'll just, we'll bring in somebody that knows their defense. Why didn't we do that before then when we had Bobby Petrino?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we haven't done it before. So why would we do it now? So I don't know what the answer is. I'm just in the boat of not wanting to make it permanent. I think that Bobby Petrino will be the fallback option when and if Arkansas swings for the fences with a different head coach and they don't get it. I feel like Bobby Petrino is their safety net. I feel like that they're going to continue and go after other names, and then if those names turn Arkansas down, then Bobby Petrino is still going to be sitting here. With that, also, if Arkansas somehow pulls off 3 wins in these next 5 games, if Arkansas wins 3 out of the next 5, and he's a serious contender for this job, I think that Bobby Petrino would be looking at, hey, they'd turn around and offer him $7 to $8 million, which is below what you're seeing across, but higher than Sam Pittman. I feel like that if all these names turn us down, if names like John Summerall and Alex Golish go somewhere else to a different job, whether it be Florida, if Auburn happens to come open, whatever the case may be, if some of these mid-major guys take different jobs and you can't get them either, and it just falls to Bobby Petrino that he wasn't your serious candidate, and it falls to him, Arkansas loses the next 4 out of 5, and it just season doesn't end well, then I look at it like, okay, you pay Bobby $6 to $6.5 million. And it's one of the those are the outcomes that I truly see. And the reason that being with Arkansas is we never get the coach that we want.
Yeah. And if it is, like Cal, it fell in his lap, out of left field. Musselman, out of left field. Sam Pittman, out of left field. It's going to be a name if they don't go with Bobby Petrino. I have a feeling that if Hunter Yurchek knows his job is at stake and they go on a, let's say, 2-game win streak, and then let's even stretch it to they go on a 3-game win streak and they beat Auburn, Mississippi State, and then they win at LSU, I could see Hunter Yurchek trying to pull that interim tag before the last 2 games of the season. Because when you look at the teams, Texas had to win in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
LSU struggled against Vandy, which Vandy's good. But now you see what has come with that, the turmoil. I've said it from the beginning. I didn't trust Brian Kelly was going to be a good coach at LSU. If you can't come into LSU where you have all this talent and you can't even make a college football playoff and you have a Heisman Trophy and you're still falling short, I know at the point I lost some good LSU friends because they just, they automatically want to bring up other schools, but you're stating facts. Brian Kelly is not a good fit there.
Mm-mm.
And they, again, can't win the big games. But if you win Auburn and then you turn around and beat a Mississippi State team and then win LSU, Texas against, you could possibly win 3 or 4 games in a row if you build off this momentum, because I'm looking at teams, Auburn, struggle scoring, Mississippi State, struggle scoring, LSU, struggle scoring against Vandy, Texas, their offense is not that good. You're having to score 40, 50 points a game to win. I mean, you had scored 42 and still lost. So when you look at the remaining games, yeah, there is a potential where, and to be honest, I wouldn't be mad if I kind of hope it does in a sense, because if I'm looking at where we are right now, I think the best option, and I'm saying if everything works out great, the best option for this team right now is if things are rolling and Bobby can turn this thing around and you give him the head coaching job, because now you're not looking at having to throw 9-10 million at this coach because he knows he's going to get it somewhere else. Then you're going to have to hire new coordinators. Then you worry about NIL. If Bobby comes in here and accepts a deal that he's like, all right, I'll take this, but bring in some good coordinators, then you build up your NIL. You see what he's doing in the offense. All you got to do is fix the defense, and you could have this team where they're contending for a college football playoff berth.
Mm-hmm. And I know some folks will bat their eyes at that, but we got to remember, we're not talking about national championship. We're just talking about making the playoffs here. And especially if they expand to 16 teams, it's something that there's all these different scenarios that we could play out. And, I made my list kind of my top 3, and this isn't what I think is going to happen. This isn't what I think should happen. It's just a list of top 3, and we're going to talk about that on HQ Live tonight. But, I'm sitting here looking at this list, and I've actually taken out some of the bigger names that I had on there originally. I've never included James Franklin even since he's been terminated. Haven't included him on the list, and it's nothing to get him. I know a lot of people talked about the big games and the this and that. I mean, I was looking at James Franklin as this is a guy that was consistently in the top 10. This is a guy who's been in the playoffs. I mean, there's the 2 back-to-back 9-win seasons at Vanderbilt, which, now we're seeing Vanderbilt can, put it together once again. So there's no knock on him. I don't see it. I'm to the point now that I think you go in on John Summerall or Alex Golish at USF. And yes, there's a risk there because you don't know how it's going to be for them coming from where they're at USF and Tulane to come into the SEC. But at the same time, I'm almost at a loss because I just don't know anymore. And like we've all talked about, those names that we always throw out there early, it's never that one. Yep. So it's one of those. It's going to be, we play out every which scenario between now and December, unless something happens like you brought up. 2 games to go. If you've reeled off a couple, they go ahead and name Bobby Petrino the permanent. And honestly, if they're going to name him permanent, I think that's the best case. Just so you know who your head coach is going to be going into the off season when portals open up and things of that nature. Because I don't think you could go into January not knowing.
Yeah, you can't have a basketball situation where you've got one guy, no coaching staff, one guy on roster. You can't have that mass exodus of 20, 30. I mean, you got people that don't have any eligibility left on the football team, plus who leaves for the portal. But you look at 2, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Did you see Arizona State being in the college football playoff? Did you see SMU being in the college football playoff? You could go Vandy. Vandy, I mean, they're top 10 team in the country right now, one loss. Big, huge matchup with Missouri. If they win that, they're going to catapult probably in the top 8. And their schedule on down the road is very favorable. So when you're looking at teams that could be in the college football playoff, it's not near as tough as it used to be. You're not having 3 SEC teams fighting for 4 spots, and they're kind of sandbagging to make sure that at least 2 of them get in. You're having more of an opportunity, and especially if this thing goes to 16 in Big Ten and your SEC have 4 guaranteed, and then at large, you have an opportunity to get more. So we'll see how things play out. Again, the opening line via FanDuel, 1.5 point underdog. So, coming into this game, Auburn's a 1.5 point favorite. We'll see how the money line moves with that. But this is a must win. Mm-hmm. We could be talking all this stuff, but if Arkansas loses this game against Auburn, then I'm going to be like, I don't know. I don't see this happening. I don't see it working out for him being full-time head coach.
We'll see what happens Saturday.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we're going to bring on Payton Dunn from the Pigpen Collective to talk about the newest NIL endeavor, what this could mean for other schools doing things, and then if there's been any drawback, what's the reception been like? But we'll catch you right after a break. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together.
Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive.
And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. And now we're joined by Payton Dunn of the Pig Pen Collective. Thank you first for joining us. And I know it's been a crazy couple of weeks for you. So just talk about all the craziness that ever since you announced this new NIL endeavor.
Yeah, I really didn't think it would blow up as fast as it did, or I would be as receptive. It's definitely been a pretty big of a roller coaster. I've had people hit me up on LinkedIn. They're like, "Hey, we see you started a collective. We're trying to do something similar. Can you give us ideas?" And I'm like, "Guys, I'm figuring it out with you. ChatGPT is great, and online resources I've went and read and tried to understand as much as possible." But yeah, I've gotten a resume from a fan. I'm like, "God, I can't pay you yet. I wish I could. We don't have the money." But I've had a lot of people try to reach out and work with us. So it's just been really eye-opening, the experience it's given me, but it still could do better. But to be making we're making around $500 a month right now, have I'd say about 50-something members each order. I can only see orders. I'd have to go back and actually count the members, but it's pretty good for about 2.5 weeks in.
I was looking at the page a couple of nights ago, and just for the fans out there that may be skeptical or maybe wondering about everything, what assurance can some of these fans have just to understand who you are, who y'all are, who the collective is, or is it, at this point being so early, just kind of a trust thing right now?
Yeah, so it's going to be trust. Rome wasn't built in a day. Mm-hmm. It's going to take time. I have, until I go out and sign an athlete, which I have to get to around $20,000 to do first, it's just going to have to take time. And the person who has the most skin in the game is me right now. I have $2,000 in a business bank account, so we don't get overcharged or get charged for fees for a business account. And then I've put over $1,500 other dollars, into promoting stuff, the tickets that I bought that I can't give away, and then a bunch of other things that have went into it in marketing and stuff like that.
Well, what's been some of the biggest hurdles, getting this off the ground? Because, of course, when people seen this first come on, it's like, okay, it's a good idea. It's a cool idea. But for somebody to actually jump on the wagon and do it, how the state of Edge is, it's no more. So what has been the biggest hurdles, and what's been the biggest receptions of this NIL collective?
So I'll do the receptions first. That's going to be the compliance office. As far as the university goes, I'll do university and then fans. And then I've had a lot of group of fans that have really, they're going to pass out koozies at the next game for me. We split it. It was $150 each for both of us, but we got 200 koozies to give out. It's got a little QR code on the bottom. I hope it comes in for the Auburn game. That's the goal. But I have other fans that, they're just reposting. They're giving positive feedback, very receptive. Courtney Mims has been great. On the negative side, starting with the university, the front office, it's been a little slow to get anything back. I hope to, I'm leaning more on, we're having communication issues right now because, they're not from Arkansas. They're from up north. How we do business in Arkansas is a little bit different, So hopefully we can kind of talk the same language to get something sorted out, because I'm here to help them. I'm trying to give the university money, trying to solve this problem the athletic director has had. And then on the fan side, the negative, I don't really listen to the noise. People will go out and say negative things, but I was in the Army. I played high school sports. I grew up in the, social media era. So people slander you all the time. It's not that big of a deal. Also went to Harding. So I don't know if anyone went to Harding, but there's a lot of slander that goes on there too. So, that would be the only thing. It's hey, just be positive. If you got something negative to say, just keep it to yourself until I've given you a reason. I went to a Titans game today and someone was like, "Oh, did our money pay for that?" I'm like, "Have you seen the price of Titans tickets?" Yeah. They're someone breaks into a car and you find 4 Titans tickets right now. So, yeah, that's about it.
When did the idea come about? Was it just immediately after all the stuff came out with Blueprint Sports and Edge, or was it something that had been on the horizon before all of that?
So it was really after the Memphis game.
Mhm.
Like I was just that was like the last straw for me. I was like, we need to find a way to get them any more NIL possible. I'd listen to all the shows because I'm a big fan of everybody's media. I watch all the Razorback stuff. That's why I want to go to every podcast so I can reach every fan because I know I'm one of those fans that watch all of it, right? So I heard all the talk about the NIL issues, which doesn't really make sense up there because if you look at our state and our funds, like you shouldn't have NIL issues. So I was like, I'm going to do something about it. And then about a week after I filed for my business, that's when the blueprint stuff happened. So really, it couldn't have been better timing. I don't know if this was God's way of saying, "Hey, this is your path. This is what you should do. This is like your destiny in life," or just a weird coincidence. But I'm hoping that it works out.
And of course, you know how Arkansas fans, the ebbs and flows of it revolves around how good we're doing.
Right.
How is the effect of, of course, the change with Bobby Petrino, all that, and then you're kicking into basketball season. How have you seen like the up and downs of getting people to chip in, cash in, or getting people on board that are already kind of cashed out on the football season?
Well, you see, it's really weird. If you think of it as like a church perspective, usually people give more offerings when stuff's not going great in life because they want to change and they want God's blessing. But with football, it's like you get more money when life's going good. So I looked at it as, I thought I'd get more money because it's like, hey, look at our defense. They can't stop a bucket of water. Let's go buy some defensive players that can. I guess I shouldn't say bye, but they're going to go sign some autographs and then they're going to get a check to play defense. But that would be to that. I think basketball season is going to do great. I've heard a lot of rumors that they think this is the best team since '94. Cal's just not going to say it because he doesn't want it to get in their heads, but we'll see. They're going to get tested early, and I tell you, if they win Thanksgiving Day, we're going to get like probably 20 more donations than on that day because it's like, hey, we got to keep Cal, and it's like, what do we do when Cal leaves? I'm looking at this as the next 5 to 10 years is how I look at the collective because we have to set a foundation, and we're playing catch up to all the other universities right now.
I know you're going to be hopefully and potentially working closely with the university, so I understand if your answer needs to be politically correct, but what are your thoughts on the Razorback raffle? Because Porter and I have had very strong opinions against it, just because the money goes to the foundation, it doesn't go to players. Do you feel like that's any sort of competition for you?
Well, at the end of the day, poor Southerners love to gamble. I mean, it's why the lottery everybody hates the lottery. It has the worst odds. You can't even play the lottery in Las Vegas, in Nevada, because the odds are so bad. So if that tells you anything, it's like now we're going to go after Arkansans and give them this 50-50 raffle. They have no shot of winning and take more money from them. I'm eventually going to be able to offer the fans something. I just can't do it right now, but you're going to get more out of me than you are the 50-50 raffle because let's be honest, does anyone know anyone that's won that raffle?
Well, we have conspiracy theories going that the winners are donors or involved in the Razorback Foundation.
It's a great way to launder money. I'm not even talking about the university here. I'm just against the gambling aspect of it. But it also goes to all the schools in Arkansas. So, like, even if it is going to the foundation, like how much is going to the foundation? It's just I don't as a fan, I don't trust the university right now because when we do a Freedom of Information Act, and we get back that you had no deal with Blueprint Sports, but yet you ended your deal with Blueprint Sports. Like which one's true? Like who's lying to us? And Oregon State had money funneled away. Did they funnel money from us? We don't know because they won't tell us anything. And then when you want to call someone about NIL at the school, there's no public number. I had to get a cease and desist to even get the people to reply. And I had a donor give me the number of the guy. So they're giving it out to the rich people, but us poor folks, us normal Arkansans can't get the number unless we got a last name or we got some dollars in our pocket. So,
but that's a good thing because I want to kind of piggyback off that. How much does that drive you to really bust your tail, make this successful? The fans, they feel like they're being lied to. I mean, it should be, you get this army of fans to donate to try to prove that one, University of Arkansas, the first collective to try to do this, and it failed.
Mm-hmm.
And you come in, normal fan, and there was a comment right here. He's doing what people only talk about. Everybody wants to talk about change, but you're actually doing change. So where's that passion at? Where's the drive to make sure this is successful?
Well, one, I'm an Arkansan. Two, I'll say I have a lot of state pride, and I think state pride's been lost. I've been trying to post about it because I think it's something that we really need to hit on. But the passion, it's just, I'm from Arkansas. I'm a poor guy. I never trust rich people. I'm a political science major. I've worked in Washington, D.C. with the senators. I know how rich people are. And it's until the poor people get together and until we rally together, I don't even say the average person, until the average person, there's strength in numbers and unity. So if we all come together and the fans can offer $10 million a year in NIL, when this crap goes on in the university, like, we're going to have a little bit more say. But it's like when the fans are still buying tickets and going to the games, the university doesn't have to give any more clarity. Why would you not want the fun to be in people that are from Arkansas? Like, I don't get it. Like, I want what's best for Arkansas. I want a national title. I do not want to die before I see a national title, and I feel like that's going to happen, and I'm only 24. So, you gotta believe, and you gotta want change, and you just gotta go for it. When we came over and started America, you think people fought that change until it was like, oh crap, they actually won, and now we're going to get behind them. So I hope we can do something to, like, hey, we got to get this ship right, or Arkansas is going to just be nothing, and that's just what's going to happen.
And a quick piggyback off that. So let's just say tomorrow somebody said, all right, I really like what you're doing. You need 20,000. Here's 20,000. Go buy your player. Where would you give the money to? How would you be able to do that next step next week? Or would you not even know who to talk to? Because again, there is no NIL. There's nothing at the University of Arkansas right now.
So what a common misconception on NIL is that the university has to have anything to do with it. If I want to make a deal with a player, I have to talk to the player or the player's representation. They talk to mine. We make a contract. And then the university then can review the contract and either say yes or no. And that is all the power the university has, which is now through, like, the NCAA is trying to set up their own portal for this. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to talk to the front office. I don't have to work with them. It's just better if we both do. I know it looks better for me if I have the university's backing and could even get IP rights so I can do better things. And, my hog doesn't have to be brown. Don't ask me why it's brown, but it's probably because of all the crap going on up there.
I'm sure we have a good idea.
but it's, we don't have to work together, but it's like, if I'm an AD and, I could possibly lose my job and there's a fan out here that's this passionate and he can rally the people, and it could save my job because now all my scandals have an end goal of here's a new NIL that actually works out, even though we can't also name the stadium. But yeah.
What is, talking about the $20,000, being the number to, be able to sign your first player. But outside of all that, what is the collective's next steps right now in this whole grand scheme of things?
So I have a phone call meeting tomorrow with the firm. I'm not going to give the firm's name out, but they are they're a bunch of Razorback alumni. They represent NBA players, NFL players, entertainment people. I'm trying to get like a friendly number because you got to pay them. Like, they're not going to do that for free. But maybe we start out smaller, and then as we grow, they get more of a cut because attorneys got to make money. So if that goes well and we can make a plan with them, they already know a lot of contacts on the Hill. They know, let's just say they know people's agents. And so it's like, it's a lot easier than to go and do the deal. I don't have to go find the player and do it myself, which I know isn't ideal, but I feel like, the players might respond. That 20,000, 10,000 is going to go and it's going to stay in the business account. So I make sure I have enough money to not get charged with a fee, and for all the overhead, it can live for a while until we get more money. Because I don't want to have to file bankruptcy for this company because that comes back on me. But that other 10,000 isn't going to be one player. I'm going to use it to sign about 3 or 4 players, and we're going to do $2,000 contracts. That's hopefully what I'm doing. And then we have enough to pay an attorney where it's worth their time.
So wrap it up with this, all right, the fans, we've heard about next steps. We've heard how does the fan get involved? We talk about the memberships, but let's talk about if somebody really wants to make a change. You've talked about your dollar subscription or your dollar membership, but let's talk about in realistic what you really want from the fans. If this thing can really move, what would you love to see from the fans to make this as successful as possible?
I mean, it's just strength in numbers. Like I've DM'd some pretty high up people and I'm like, hey, I don't need money from you. You can give $1 a month and that's fine. I just need your influence to be able to get out and reach more. If every fan gave $1, we would get millions of dollars a year in revenue. I don't need somebody going out and giving me $10,000. If I had 10,000 fans giving me $1, that's $10,000 a week. So it really doesn't need to be a bunch from one person. It just needs to be a unity and everybody chipping in. And then everybody's got some skin in the game. Everybody feels like they've invested in this team. And overall, that's better long term. And no one is just out a lot. And at the end of the day, it's like if you only give me $52 a year, like I feel like there's not a lot of trust needed for that. Like I know that sounds weird, but it's like I go and buy an energy drink every day before work, and that's $4, and that's what I would have gave to a collective for the whole month. So if that answers your question, I feel like it's more of a unity thing.
So, again, man, we really appreciate you coming on. I know, you've been through the car wash, but, we're early stages of this. So whatever we could do here at Hog Talk to really help pass along any information or any kind of fundraisers, or if you have any promotions, anything like that, pass it along to us. But we really appreciate your time and coming on and talk to us with us.
Right. Thank y'all so much for having me. Again, I love all the shows. Like y'all are here for the passion. You're probably not making any money out of this, right? So you're doing it for the heart of it. So I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
No problem, man. Take it easy. That was Payton Dunn of the Pigpen Collective. Again, Payton's been on every show, really trying to push this thing. So, there's comments about how much does he get. If I'm understanding, let's just.
So on their site, I'm on here. I remember seeing this. I mean, it claims that they're it's right here. 10% of all funds received will be allocated to operational costs.
Yeah.
So, that's one of those that we get into the trust factor of things.
Yes.
But I think, like he's talking about getting business people involved, lawyers involved, whatnot, people that can help navigate this. I think that's the right move with it.
Yeah. And when we were having the conversation, he said if he got $20,000 tomorrow, the initial 10,000 would go in, and then they would use the other 10. So, I mean, again, Kevin, I know you're probably like a lot of people that have a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions too, but here, let's look at the grand scheme of it. This dude is going out of his way to get a team together to make this work. He's really just trying to ensure from the startup that this thing gets rolling. So I wouldn't sit there and take it saying, if he gets 20,000 a week, he's keeping 10 of that, but that's where you say you're a business, you might be interested. You reach out to DM Payton. Dude, we've been talking the past couple of weeks. I think it's going to be, if they learn the ropes and they learn really how to make this work, they get the business people behind it to help him out and get the firm involved, to get, the proper people. Hey, I think this has a chance to go at it. So, and we hope that, because, again, he asked us, we know all about the struggles of dealing with this university and being duped into all this stuff and the raffle so I hope it does. I really hope they come in, get all these people, get business owners, intellectual property. Of course, we have that flash sale. So, but the biggest thing, like I said, we have had so many people, and this is no knock to the ones that haven't done anything, because it takes a lot of work. Not anybody can do this, but for someone to really have the drive, not to just talk about it, but to do it. They've been at this, 2-3 weeks. So, learning stages and more. Once this really gets rolling, then we'll have an idea of how this is going to work and what it's going to take to run this thing.
And like one of the comments said, he's doing what a lot of fans talk about doing. And, and I brought up the trust, the this, to that. But, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of us, were donating to something that was ran by a company that was screwing universities out of money with Blueprint Sports.
Yeah.
So, it's a matter of, I think that a collective that is truly fan driven by people from the state of Arkansas, I think can go a long ways and go a lot further than we saw Edge
Absolutely.
and everything go.
Well, yeah, and you're given to a 50-50 raffle in hopes. It reminds me of the Monopoly game at the old school Monopoly game at McDonald's. Get all these pieces in hopes of winning a free cheeseburger or $1 million, but you're giving to a 50-50 raffle that where is any of that money going to? And you can't even FOIA where that money goes. So I have a good idea that when they get this thing rolling, they're going to have people, I think they will be transparent. I think once they start getting all this revenue come in, they're like, hey, look, this is what's coming in. This is what we're giving to players. 10%, we're keeping that for operational costs because, again, if there's no operation, you can't have a collective. So I think he's very straightforward about what their objective is with this.
Well, you bring it up, but it's on the app now, but Monopoly is back.
Yes, it is back. That's why I was talking about the old school one, because the old school one was a big sham. So
if y'all haven't ever seen it, and this will be what I leave you with for the night, go on to I think it's on HBO Max, or it maybe even be on one of the other streaming services. Go watch the documentary or docuseries on the McDonald's Monopoly fiasco and how insane it really was behind this.
And then if you want to piggyback, do you remember the Pepsi one where the
jet or plane? Yeah.
It was a jet, and he almost got the jet. That's what's crazy about that. Adam, you got anything else before we wrap it up?
We will be back at 8:05 for Hog HQ Live.
Join us at 8:05. Join Adam and the guys 8:05. They'll break down more of the game. We kind of had a work situation where we come in late. I come in late. We want to have Payton on. So come back at 8:05, get more of a game breakdown. I'm sure they'll go over a little bit of what we talked about with Payton Dunn. But for Adam Hall, I'm Porter Hayes. Thank you to all of our sponsors. FanDuel for sponsoring the Hog Talk podcast, Believe Network, and we will catch you on Thursday.